Sweet. Welcome everybody. I'm here today with Luis. He's one of our clients who went from 350,000 a month all the way up to a million a month in less than 6 months, which is absolutely insane. And in this video, we're going to break down some of the results he's got, learnings he's got, hopefully pass on some of that stuff to you guys. So Luis, first and foremost, once again, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you for
So
having me.
let's start off with just how did you even get into ecom to begin with? Like how long ago was that? Did you launch your first store and start testing your first products?
Yeah, it was about like 4 years ago, so like 2020, probably. Honestly, I was just looking for ways to make money online. Like I have always been obsessed about making money. And I knew I wanted to start a business, but I had no idea how. So I went like the affiliate marketing route. I even like used to download apps to make money, do a bunch of surveys, and then I came across drop shipping. Saw a bunch of videos, didn't really apply for a while, so I just kept watching and watching, trying to learn as much as I could. At the time, there was a lot of content, but we all know like most of those content were like bullshit and didn't really teach you and didn't really help you um, as much as they made it seem like it would. So I just kept testing products that I thought would work, didn't work, lost a bunch of money, stopped for a while, and then came back and never stopped. Probably I have been doing this now consistently, like full time for the past 2 years now.
Nice. So you've been in the game, you'd say probably about what, 6 years total now?
Almost no 5, I would say.
Got it. Okay. And so when you first started, and obviously you said you stopped kind of in between every now and then when it was not
Yeah.
working. How many years did you spend, or months or weeks, whatever it was, testing until you kind of found your first profitable product? And like kind of what did you end up getting that to?
So when I first started, like I said, I just used to watch a lot of videos and not really apply. So that was about like probably 4 to 6 months just watching and trying to learn. And then when I opened my first store, didn't really last because I was working a part-time job at a cafe, and all the money that which wasn't a lot, I put into drop shipping on TikTok ads. Some organic too because TikTok ads was pretty new. I didn't know what I was doing. Lost all the money. So when I put a lot of money, I lost it, and then I would just wait a couple more months, get more money, and then come back and try different products. So like it was a span of almost, I don't know, a year and a half kind of trying, like going on and off. And then I just completely stopped. And then yeah, I probably got like to 1K in like those couple like first year. So I didn't scale anything. Like I didn't really know what I was doing basically. And then when I came back to drop shipping, which was 2 years ago, 2023, 2022, that's when I had my first like winner, which I probably scaled to like 20K, but it was like for like in a month or two.
Right. Yeah, super interesting. My story is somewhat similar because I was also working at Tim Hortons, like a fast food cafe in Canada. And same thing. It was like, yeah, work 2, 3 months, take the money, lose it, take the money, lose
Exactly.
it. But you're
Yeah.
testing. So, question that I had for you, because I know everyone has a different answer when I ask this, based off when they were first starting and struggling, is why did you decide to keep going with it? Like after you were burning a couple hundred here, a couple thousand here, obviously until you hit that first, 20K winner, why continue?
Honestly, it was just it's kind of hard. It's funny. It's kind of hard to explain because it's kind of like a feeling you have to keep going. And it's something like I have always dreamed of. I know this is something I'm gonna be doing for the rest of my life. Not like drop shipping, but like building businesses. That's what I love. I love like creating products and marketing. So I knew that like that was my future. It was never like something I doubted. My mom thought I was crazy because she was like, "You're like 14 years old. Like you're like, you know." $100, you should be buying like your shoe or like a game or something. And I was just like, she saw it as wasting money. But like I don't know what really kept me going. I feel like it was the kind of faith that it would work, because that was my future, probably.
Yeah, 100%. It was just never a moment where you really just even doubted it. It was just like sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, it's just about time. And even today, like I know I'm gonna do a lot more than what I currently am doing. It's just about a time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, super interesting. And so then when you hit that first like 20K winner, from that 20K winner to your current store to where you were able to get that to about 350K a month, how long was
Yeah.
that period? And then kind of walk me through that timeline.
It was it was a lot. After that first kind of winter, I struggled a lot. Like I have thought about like dropping drop shipping again so many times because I went to like drop shipping after that like 20K full time. I quit my job at the cafe. And then I was kind of like living basically very ho kind of like hoping I would find that my next winner. I tested about like so I can't even tell you how many products I tested after that. But the biggest problem was I didn't know what I was doing. And so I just kept like spam testing a bunch of products like every single day, basically. I put out some like shitty website, shitty like creatives, and hoped that it would work. So it was a hard process. And it was like last year, mid of like last year that I started like actually doing pretty good numbers. So it's pretty recent. Like my whole like real like ecom doing big numbers, it hasn't even been a year yet.
Right. Yeah, super interesting. Isn't it crazy how like, you have to go through that time where it's just nothing's really working. You get some wins, you losses
Yeah.
back to zero, and then all of a sudden like it just hits. Like it all just comes together and it just takes off.
Yeah.
But once you build that foundation, you kind of just have it, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's and I don't I see it as like a learning phase too because even though I struggled a lot, I was always trying to learn something new. Watching YouTube like from past experience on my own. And then I even started like documenting my journey because I wasn't doing great, but I was doing like I got to like 100K a month and then that was it. The store died and I thought the product also died. So I had to kind of like switch my mindset from like the drop shipping to actually trying to build a business in the sense of like an actual brand that, I can take it in the long term.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's really the first, I would say like the second phase, right? Like first phase, you end up going through all this product testing, your spam testing product. I feel like everyone's gone through that phase. And then at some point it takes off and you hit your first real revenue. But it's just very short lived, right? It just goes back to zero or back
Yeah.
to you're not making any profit. Even if you did like 30K, 50K a month, it's just like you're losing money, you're break even until you then make that next realization where it's okay, not only do I now know how to get sales, but now I need to make this thing sustainable, last, and actually build it into something where I don't have to go back to square one every single time.
Yes.
So then from the 350K a month then at that point, which is still somewhat recent then, why did you decide to start working with us on the consulting once you hit that point?
Yeah, that's pretty easy because like I said, I was doing good numbers. Like if you tell that to a beginner doing 100K revenue a month, like that's awesome. That's like every beginner's dream. But I couldn't get past that. I knew how to do it. Like I was applying, I could like replicate to a bunch of products, but I would just hit that 100K mark and not know where to go. So that's when I knew I needed more help, and the resources that I had at the moment like didn't teach me exactly what I needed. And when I came across your YouTube, which was crazy because everything happened so fast. I came across like one of your videos. I loved your video. Like the value was insane. And it was exactly what I needed, like the structure, like changing kind of like the mindset from like regular drop shipping to actually building something sustainable. I started like spend watching a bunch of your videos. I watched like probably all of them. And then I decided to schedule a call because I was like, this is exactly what I need to do. If I
Mhm.
want to get past, I'm not going to be able to do it on my own. I need to learn more. I need to talk and, learn from people who are actually doing it in real time instead of like watching people that have done it and now are just selling courses or doing something completely different.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of people can relate to that too, because a lot of people see these YouTube videos and either like one, just don't take action on it, or two, like the main point I want to point out to people there is like you took the stuff that you watched there, you binge watched it, you then put it into practice right away. Plus, then
Yeah.
just end up schedule a call just to like say, why not? If this was already good, why not even get more help with it? And whether you decide to get the more help or not get more help, the point is like you saw the stuff, you binge watched it, and then you just took action quick, right? And the
Yeah.
faster you move, the faster that skill gets, which obviously shows with the recent revenue growth, which is just nuts. And so then once you decided to join, right, what were some of the like main learnings or main wins you had after joining that you were like, okay, like this clicked and this clicked that really led to the first growth? And then kind of what was that first revenue growth you've had after how long joining and what did that look like?
Yeah, it was a lot of things. But the biggest was the way to test creatives. even like medium buying strategies, how to look at the again the creatives and how you should be testing them, and as well as like team structure on how like you need more people in order to actually build into a big business, as well as like organizing. And that's something I'm really bad and I still struggle into this day. Like I like to do things all myself. So I knew that that was something I had to learn. So yeah, probably the creative aspect of it, the medium buy was the thing that helped me the most.
Got it. Cool. So then you start taking that stuff, you start implementing it, and then walk us through like the first month, what that look like, and then maybe month 2 and 3 as well after joining.
Yeah, so after the first month of joining, basically I was doing about like 350K revenue a month when I first joined. And then the next month, which was January, it basically doubled to like six thousand and 27K or something. And then it just continued growing crazy. Next month I hit like 700K again, and then next month it was like 100K, and then now I'm basically hitting almost like a million a month. Basically a million a month in revenue
Yeah, insane.
with like great
Insane.
margins.
Yeah, that's the even more insane part. It's like not like you scale the margins drop, but it's like you scale the years stay consistent. Or some of
Yeah.
those months even got better. Obviously, you hit some like ad account bans and ad ban and stuff like this along the way,
Oh
which
yeah.
which is never fun. But despite that, you've kept it pushing and moving, which is sweet. Um, It's so interesting because I mean, every time I ask somebody in one of these interviews too, like, what was the main thing that like helped them scale? Like, creative is typically always one. But
Yeah.
outside of that, there's a lot of different answers. So it's super interesting to me that like the whole mindset shift or system switch from like dropshipping how to build it into something consistent, like the whole team and hiring thing as well.
Yeah.
Big lever for you.
Yeah. Another thing I forgot to mention is that once you made that doc, once I first joined, going through the business, you mentioned a lot of like, how to increase my AOV conversion rate, and that also helped a ton. I had a pretty decent conversion rate, but it started dropping. Like usually, like once you start getting more traffic, it
Yeah.
usually drops. But when I tr started implementing some things that you suggested, that also helped a lot, like with the bundlings, different strategies, higher offer. When I also like that made a huge difference too. I forgot to mention that because like
Yeah, no,
creative was a big part. Because I knew like you should be testing creatives, but I didn't know that you should like be testing creative at a very high level.
yeah,
Um, and also like always be testing. Like that's the main thing. Like that I learned is you always have to be testing. You can't really get comfortable at like where you're at. You have to always be testing and see what works and what doesn't. Because like it's gonna be very specific to every single brand.
yeah,
And that's what I really liked because you dive into like the brand of your students and not really like something very broad. You go into what works for them, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I also do think that you mentioned like that is probably one of the main points why we're able to get some of these crazy results is because at the end of the day, every brand is different. Like if you're working with somebody and it's not at least some level one-on-one or just some sort of general thing, like
Yeah.
we're just a group, like it's tough, right? Because like there's so many specific cases and between niches or product lines and things like that, or even just the overall roadmap. Because for some people it makes sense to go launch a bunch of SKUs. Other people it doesn't. You gotta double down on the one, and like there's so many different routes you could take, and that's really the main thing, right? Which is like getting clarity on what those next steps should be. Even with myself, it's like half the time it's like you kind of like you deep down kind of know. You just need someone to bring the clarity out of there and give you the systems for it. Like you said, the creative output, even us recently, it's like you end up scaling, but because you're so caught up in the scale and all these things you should be doing, you forget like, okay, we need to increase output further now. And then you have to increase the systems to be able to handle that and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think you're spot on with that. Now the next question I have for you, which is something I'm super curious about, which is obviously you're from Brazil. You're living in the US
Yes.
right now. But, going from 350, even 350 a month is already a lot from where you were starting, obviously. But from 350 to a mil, profit wise, what you're taking home each month is a huge fucking difference. Like that's
Yeah.
an insane amount of profit that you're taking home now, right? And so how did that change your life personally, like outside of business?
Like I literally got the chills. I'm not even because when I think about it, it's crazy because I know a lot of people can relate to having like because like I said, it was I lost money for so long and like I was the only one that believed in this. So it's crazy because everybody around me, like the even the people that loved me the most was like, "Are you crazy? Like stop doing this. Go to college or like go do something that's gonna be like, you're gonna get paid or whatever, you know? Something that it's kind of like guarantee, which is really not, um, but like it changed completely. Like I have always had this kind of feeling of um anxiety of missing, of like not having enough to provide to myself and my family. So that I always carried that with myself. And today, just to have like kind of like the peace of mind to be like, okay, like I can live life a little bit. Like I can go see my family back in Brazil, which I wasn't like that wasn't even an option for me a couple years ago. Now I can go back and see them, or like even kind of like help my mom and my sister with things like simple things that makes a difference, and also like the confidence to also be investing back in the business and also be like invest in the my dream futures because I have a lot of plans and goals I want to still like achieve, and having kind of like the financial um kind of having the financial money to do that is like good because like I know I can invest in something that I'm actually passionate about.
Yeah, 100%. I'm super happy for you, man. Even just saying that, like you said, gives me the chills back and just even inspires me again because it's like everyone who made it to this level has been through some sort of period like that. And even like past, obviously the financial, like you said, having the financial means and being able to help family out and travel and do all these things is amazing. And like that's one of the best parts about it. But even past that, it's like going through the years of not making any money and in fact just losing money and burning money with it, no
Exactly.
signs of it working over and over and over again until it finally clicks and you're just like just that confidence it gives you to being like, fuck yeah, like I was right.
Yeah.
I stuck to it and planned out. Like that gives you a whole nother level of confidence into your next ventures as well. Um,
Yeah.
and what's sweet now too is like at the revenue level you're at now, like even once you get to like kind of the multi six figure months, but more like the high multi six figure months to like seven figure months, you're now sitting on like this reserve of cash, which, like you said, you can now use to go fund your next ventures and like start building some real wealth.
Yeah.
Whether it's personal investments, new brands, reinvesting to your brand, you have this like safety net of like completely risk-free money that if you want to
Yeah.
just fucking blow or if you want to reinvest into anything, you have the means to do it. And in my opinion, like that's to me where the real fun starts and real freedom comes. Because now you can hire people, put them in place to buy you back time to go do what you want, start your next business, like me with this consulting one, or whatever it may be. So super happy for you. Yeah,
Thank
it's
you,
just, it's
man.
just sick. Yeah, it's just a huge difference. I'm glad to hear it too. And the Brazilians are built different, I guess. You and Gabriel now too, eh? The Brazilians are just they just spin. They're locked in.
Yeah.
That's sweet. My last question for you, and I'll let you go here is at that 350K a month range, where do you think you'd be at 6 months from when you joined? So, today, back at 350K a month if you didn't end up joining the consulting.
Honestly, stuck. I think I would probably I don't want to say be back to testing products because we always have like the faith that it's gonna work out, but I would probably I have to admit that I would be not with the store anymore, with my current brand. I wouldn't be doing these numbers or even still be selling this product because the main thing I also learned with the community and you is that you just don't like give up on something when it's like not working out. You kind of see the problem and seek solutions. Because there's always a solution. Like there's always gonna be like bumps on the road, and that doesn't mean that you should just blow everything and just give up. That's why like the putting systems in place is super super important, and it's why it's so valuable. So yeah, it sucks. Like I don't want to say that I would be, back at zero, but I would probably not be with the store. Like, I would just probably kind of make some money, like 350 a month, and then just go back to, oh, what's the next product?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's cool that you realize that too. And the biggest thing is that I preach in most of the YouTube videos, which I'm sure you related to when you were watching, is like, yeah, most people get stuck in that loop, right? It's like they hit
Yeah.
350, they even hit 500, maybe they even hit a million a month. But then it's like back to square one 6 months later. And the issue is
Yeah.
like, when you have those down months like you've been through, it's like that's when you actually really build the brand, and that's when you really build the moat in the business to where like you've had tons of competitors ripping you this entire time. You probably still do have a shit ton, but at this point, like it's hard for them to compete as much. I'm sure you've seen tons of these competitors just drop off and not
Yeah.
sustain, but yours has despite the bad months. And it's because you decided to double down, learn what you need to do, and get out of that kind of rabbit hole of just going back to testing products
Yeah.
as soon as shit drops because it's just easier for quick cash. But in the long run, you'll be making way less money, which you kind of just detailed there.
Yeah, 100%. Like the difference from when I first joined to now is that kind of something that I wish a lot of beginners kind of knew is really just trying really hard to switch your mindset from making quick cash and just selling products from China or whatever you're doing, like as a quick type of money thing to actually trying to build something that's gonna be sustainable in the long term. And really, putting in the work in because if you do put it in the work and you put the system in place, like it's gonna pay off. And a lot of people are not willing to do that in the e-commerce space because a lot of people think it's going to be easy because of all these gurus and flashy lifestyles they see. They think it's going to be super easy, and once like they see like a little bit things getting a little bit harder, they just give up. So that like I wish a lot I knew this earlier that just stick to it and see it as an actual business that you're looking to like scale massively.
Yeah, 100%. I was gonna go off the back of that and start saying some more about it, but like couldn't have said it any better than I would have said. Like that's really the main difference of guys who can get to 5 or 6 figures and actually make the jump from 6 to 7 versus just being in that 6 figure loop. 100%. So with that being said, once again, if whoever's watching this, like I want you to take away one main thing here too, which is one, get out of that rabbit hole of like when things get rough, just go back to product testing. And two, the main thing once again that I have to give to you, credit to you, Luis, is like even from the start, before you join the program, it's like the speed at which you take action. Like you move quick, and then you kind of know when you don't know, right? And then as soon as you have that feeling where it's like, okay, I don't know what to do here, I'm stuck here. Like you go find the help, and then more importantly, is getting the help's one thing, but like actually taking fast action on that, like that makes all the difference. And it's the common trend between all these student interviews, the guys who get the best results, like 350 till it was like 700, 600, whatever K in the next 30 days is insane. Now it's like you already had that baseline there. I just had to like bring it to the front, like, listen, here's the roadmap. This is what you have to do. And you went and you did it. And then obviously 6 months later, being a mil a month, at a 12 mil a year run rate, if you keep it up at this point, like, what else can you ask for? Like it's crushing.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you very much for once again doing this, and we will call it there.
All right, awesome. Thank you.